Well, here we are. Let's just say this. The defense doesn't give up a touchdown against a top 25 team. I will absolutely take it. The offense struggles a little bit. Doesn't matter. I think Max Johnson looked better. Welcome into the TexAgs Postgame Wrap. I am David Nuño. Brandon Leone's here with us. The Aggies win this game 17-9. We're going to get to CT here in a moment. And this show is brought to you by Higginbotham Insurance. You probably only think about insurance when you need it, but at Higginbotham, they think about your risk for you because they want you covered all year long. They start by listening and end with a custom solution that fits your needs and your budget. They do it all: car, home, health, business, and employee insurance. Higginbotham's got you covered, a place that leads with value, so your value leads. Call Tyler Smith, 979-871-3162, or visit higginbotham.com. All right, we're going to get opinions. We're going to break it all down. We're going to hear from you there on the streams out there on Twitter, on Facebook, you name it, texags.com. But real quick, I'm going to just go through a little bit of the game notes, and then we'll hit some analysis on there. A-Chain starts off the game with a beautiful kick return to get it all started. And really, you can see the difference in the offense immediately. Max Johnson, it felt a little bit more up-tempo. Yes, the numbers weren't fantastic out there, but they went up-tempo. Probably the best drive of the year started off this game. An 18-yard pass to Donovan Green is the first offensive play. Devon A-Chain, solid running the ball. Drops a would-be touchdown, though. This game would look a lot different if he would have caught that first one. It's all right, though. He made up for it later. It is 3-0 A&M after a field goal. Miami had an App State vibe going on those third downs to start the game. They got 2 consecutive third down conversions on that one. A pass interference helped them as well. We're tied up at 3 apiece at that point. A&M's second drive almost went 3 and out, but a fumbled punt by Miami allowed A-Chain to get a big run. And then comes the jumbo package. LJ Johnson gets the touchdown. A&M is up 10-3. Miami misses a 48-yard field goal attempt after getting past midfield. Then targeting. Targeting was a big part of the game today. Brian George gets ejected. Then Damani after a big hit on a 3rd and 10. That sets up another field goal, but Albert Regis with the block. It stays 10-3. All right, so 10-3 at the half. Second half, the defense gets Miami off the field quickly. Then it's the leaders, and that was the theme of the entire game. Beyond the targeting, A-Chain and Anias were getting it done for Texas A&M. Anias with a 25-yard pickup. Tack on 15 after that. Then Max to A-Chain. He puts on the wheels. 25-yard touchdown, 17-3 Aggies. On the ensuing drive, Miami converts on 2 third downs, one because of a Terrian Lee offsides to give them a first and then a 25-yard pickup. They settle also for a 3. It is now 17-6. Entering the fourth quarter, 11-point lead. That should be enough for Texas A&M. It did get a little dicey at times. Miami would get another third down conversion. They'd make it now, they'd hit the field goal 17-9. But then when the Aggie defense needed to come up big, they did, and they closed this game out. They win it 17-9. We'll get to your comments, but right now we begin with Brandon Leone. I'm a lot happier today when we win. It doesn't matter how you win. They got to win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's going to analyze the game and say what they want to say. Ultimately, after last week, all the things that have been coming out, they had to find a way to win this football game. They had a ton of talented players in town visiting campus. I think they announced that was the 3rd largest crowd. It was a must-win for this program, and they did it. And it wasn't always pretty, but ultimately all that matters is they were 1-0 today, and we can get some momentum back as a program. I think there's some confidence. A lot of young players played today.
Yeah.
And so, it's fun to see young guys get in there, but you also get a little bit nervous. But, man, they need that experience. This is a long season. So whether it's targeting, whether it's injuries, whether it's suspensions, whatever it is, we need to have more and more depth across the board. Absolutely thrilled that they won this game. Kyle Field was electric, which you expect it to be on a Saturday night at 8 p.m. in College Station, Texas. And all that matters, Nuño, is that we won. We found a way.
Alan, I see your comment right there. Did you lose any bodily fluids when Anias muffed that punt? I thought to myself, oh, my goodness.
Man,
there's so many storylines today, though, right? So, and we got to bring in CT here in a second, but the first storyline was the freshman getting in trouble. And honestly, I'm proud of Jimbo for sticking to his guns because I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have been like, all right, you guys, we need some offense. Let's just have you guys are suspended for the half. He said, nah, you're suspended for the game. And props to him because they got the victory. And really, when you look at this A&M receiving core, Anias caught, Devon A-Chain caught, Donovan Green caught, Chase Lane caught. 4 different people caught passes for this team. That's not a lot, especially when a big chunk of your offense was sitting out.
No, it's not a lot, and I'm not sure again, this is a quick analysis right after the game. I don't know what goes into the game plan. I don't know why other guys don't step on the field, if it's a lack of confidence, if the system's too complicated. But what I do know is we've got to figure something out on offense. Truly, this game could have been a big win for A&M, and it was. But what I mean is, in the second,
like a blowout.
It could have been a blowout. The defense gave us so many different opportunities, and multiple times in the second half, if we just get a first down, get a little bit momentum, and you started getting that feeling like, oh my gosh, move the chains. And so I don't know what it is, but I know we got to figure it out. And I know we got to get the guys the ball in space more often. And here's what I will say, and we'll talk more about it in a minute. Max looked good. I mean, he took what the defense gave him. You know, if he rolled out and there was no one there, he ran and he got 5.
Poised, man.
He was poised.
So poised.
He didn't seem nervous, and that was a big deal. We needed that. That was a big change with him in there today. And again, he threw some great balls. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why guys aren't getting open. I don't know if it's predictable. I don't know what it is. If we were safe
no separation,
today, no separation. Our routes are. It just from. And I sat wet, brother. I was in the nosebleeds today. I promise you that. And it was a good eye. But just watching our offense, I'm like, got to get open. We got to get open. We got to protect. But again, I don't want to go down a negative train. We won, and this was one of the biggest wins we needed in a very long time.
So here's a couple of things that I thought too. First off, like the defense, as good as they weren't that good. And what I mean by that, it seemed like Miami could run the ball at will on this defense, right? And then third downs were a problem as well. Yeah. Third downs were an issue, but yet they didn't give up a freaking touchdown. And you look at the App State game, only giving up 17 points. You should win that game at home.
Absolutely.
The offense has got to pick it up. Offensive line has had their struggles this year. It was better today. It still had a lot of issues. I mean, Layden had some issues. Fatheree had some issues. And the one thing about Max, though, was he was so poised and he'd step up and make the throw. Give that guy a little bit more time, and let's see what he can do.
Absolutely. I mean, when he had time, you saw the throws he made, and he was putting it right on the guys, in their chest, in their hands, with time to move. And I feel like he got better when we kept trying to hit A-Chain in the dump, in the flats. We were putting it on him right when he was waiting, he was getting it to him right when the guy was in front of him. On the play he scored, he led him a little bit and gave him an opportunity to make somebody miss, which, man, listen, we have athletes. We just got to find ways to get them in space. And then the other thing I was thinking about Nuño, and I know you'll jump to it, I don't know. Again, I have so much to watch and break it down, but I'm not a gigantic fan of 3 down men. I just feel I feel like our roster talent right now, I feel like our makeup, and I understand this is the new defense, and they did it. They started going 4 down man more, but we'd get in third and long situations and we bring no pressure, you know? And so I feel like, I don't know what it is. Again, I don't want to be overly critical, but our talent, the majority of our talent on this football team on the defense is at the line of scrimmage, you know, and I don't know if we need to rotate more, but we need to have 4 down guys more often, and we can't be putting guys back. Anyways, we'll get to that, man.
Let's do this. Let's bring in CT into the conversation, and Chris Taylor joining the show. Chris, I don't see you anymore. I see your letters. What's up? All right, we're gonna take him out of the stream. Dalton will let me know if he's ready to roll here in a second. We'll try to bring in CT. We can barely hear him or see him at all. So, all right, a couple other things I want to get into. Yeah. So, the separation. Look, I feel like we're pointing at the negatives, but let's point at the positives.
Absolutely.
Right? Here's the biggest positive. You had a national audience watching. A big team in Miami. Miami is a brand, regardless of what you think, if they were overrated or underrated or whatever, a brand in here with a Heisman Trophy named guy in Tyler Van Dyke. He's not necessarily there, but like he's a guy they're like, oh, if he has a big year, he'll be there.
Yeah.
Well, they made him look pedestrian. Yep. The only thing Miami was able to do, in my opinion, was run the ball. That was about it.
I got one for you too, Nuño, and this is something that's the most overlooked phase of football. Is special teams.
Yep.
We blocked the field goal. They missed the field goal. We got a turnover on the punt. Our punt team did outstanding. Our coverage was great. Anais had the one slip up at the end that made everybody almost throw up. But he's trying to make a play, which is what you want him to do, in my opinion. But listen, man, that changed the game. You know, I mean, offense wasn't moving the football. But here's the thing about that play that I want you to go back and watch. It's hustle. You know, Damani's running downfield full speed. I think 24 was right there with him and somebody else. Special teams is such a hidden thing and an overlooked phase of the game that can change games. And today it did. Yep. It really did. I mean, missed field goal, block field goal, cover the punt return down there, giving us win the battle of the hidden yardage. We recover our ball down their ball and we go score. And that was a big thing for me. And the reason I think that's a huge deal with special teams to me is all effort, right? And the guys were given effort tonight. That was one thing that I don't think was lacking this evening from our football team was effort. And I love that. That's important.
Let's think about it too. So last week, special teams played a big part in getting the offense going again, right? So they were able to get Devon A-Chain, get that touchdown. You felt like, all right, that's the spark we need. They're going to come back and win this game. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. This week, they start off the game with an excellent kick return from Devon A-Chain. Set up the offense to keep going. The punt team was phenomenal. The only real issue was on that punt at the very end by Anias.
That's right.
Who was trying to make a play. I'd rather just get a, let's just fair catch it and move on. But it's all right. He was able, thank goodness he was able to get back on that
he
ball.
fought for that. That was huge. That would have been, detrimental and put our defense in another bad position. We put our defense in a few bad positions, but I will say this, we're going to harp on the offense. The one time the defense, I think, did let up and they were tired. Time of possession was about equal at the half. By the end of the second half, they dominated us.
Yeah.
And that to me, again, we're getting pushed around a little bit. Our guys are getting tired and they were getting a lot of third down conversions. But you pin them down, amazing punt by 95, you pin them at the 1, give up a 7-yard run, then a 17-yard run. And so you lose that, amazing play by our special teams because defense gave up 2 plays. But the defense was bend but don't break, and they made plays when they needed to tonight.
Well,
it's a lot of inexperience.
I'm going to give you some of these numbers here. A&M total yards, 264. Miami, 392. But here's the one that caught my eye. And again, the gun show. Ronnie wants the gun show. We won. We can be happy.
Not me.
Stop. The running game by Miami, as I've harped on a little bit, 175 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And they had 2 guys doing it, Jalen Knighton and also Henry Parrish Jr. Both guys, 85 yards for Parrish, and Knighton had 77 yards on the ground. Van Dyke had 14 yards in the game. They've got to figure out stopping the run. And a lot of times they would happen when they had the 3 down linemen and the linebackers just couldn't fill.
And that's the thing. And this, I think you guys, I'm trying to be less active on Twitter during the game. Sometimes I need to chill out. Luch has helped me out with that in my older years. But one of the things that I said is like, we got to stay in 4 down line. The roster makeup for me in a 3-3-5, I love the defense. You can bring multiple things with it. We just don't have those guys. You can see a significant difference between 45 and everybody else.
Yep.
The other guys are playing their tails off 100%. But you're right. When we put 3 down linemen in, that's when they're gashing us on the run. At least a significant percentage of the time we're getting gashed when we put down that many. We're only putting down 3 D linemen because those guys just aren't filling. They're getting to the second level quick. They're opening up the holes. I mean, again, one of the things about sitting up high tonight, Nuño, I could see the holes opening up pretty big for the Miami offense tonight.
Absolutely. So let me just also read this out. So Kay Nagley, the other day on the show, I said, if A&M wins by double digits, I'm partying tonight on Northgate. They didn't win by double digits. And Kay just texted me. She's like, Northgate?
Yeah.
No, they won by 9.
That's right. Hey, you listen, he's right, Kay.
I mean,
it didn't happen.
If this post-game show ends and somebody from TexAgs is going with me, hey, then we might go.
In the house.
We might not.
I'll go. If you go, I'll go.
If you go, I'll go.
No, man. Listen, improvement from last week, guys. We've been the negative storyline all week long. National media just drinks it up. And everyone I talked to today in College Station, people that I ran into, I don't know if I've ever heard people say, doesn't matter. We got to have it. We had to have this game. Jimbo Fisher and this team responded. I am proud of the defense because there was a lot of young cats thrust into the spotlight tonight. And Bryce Anderson, man, made some plays. And here's the thing about those young, talented guys like that. They're going to make big plays, but they're also going to, they're going to have some plays that are bad too.
Right.
And that's just part of getting that experience. And so, anyways, big time win. And I'm proud of these guys.
Yeah, you should be. We're still working on getting Chris Taylor back on the show. We'll find that here momentarily if we can. The biggest thing from this game is, like, I've always, in college basketball, there's survive and advance. I kind of feel that same way with where we are with Texas A&M football, because I do think eventually they're going to figure stuff out.
They will.
Right. And defensively, it was a bendo break kind of defense,
100%.
and it started bending, and then they didn't break, and they came up with a big special teams block, and they kept them to just 9 points. That part of it, loved. Offensively, I felt with Max, it was much prettier, yet not that different of a result offensively. But it was definitely, they felt more in rhythm.
No, they did. And again, like we said, I think Max seemed poised. You know what I mean? He took what the defense gave him. I think when we did have space and we did have protection, which didn't seem like those two were hand in hand many times tonight, but when we did, it was there. And Max made great throws. He made great reads. And so I feel like as we're piecemealing people back, Bryce is coming back. They're trying to figure out what's going on the left side of the line of scrimmage. That's why today was so big, because you're trying to build up to the gauntlet we're about to go into. And so, this team heard a ton of negativity from people from the outside this week. They saw it all over the news. They saw it on social media. They're getting it in their messaging. What they need to do, in my opinion, and I'm hoping, we talked about this, man, just close your ears, put horse blinders on, focus on who's inside that building with you, come together as a football team and execute. Block out the noise, stay positive, and go and get it done. The talent is here. Got to go get it done.
We're going to try to get CT back on the show. I see him. Let's see if we can hear him.
Hey.
Chris Tanner.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yep, I'm here.
You sound perfect. You sound great, man.
Technical difficulties. We're good to go now, though.
Hey, so let's just start off with the good, the bad, and then just what's next for us. So what'd you like? What did you not like? And what's going to happen?
Well, there's a lot to be proud of with this group. We had a lot of young guys playing tonight, and to be able to have that bend but don't break mentality on defense, I thought that was great. I thought, with Richardson being, ejected, and I believe it was Gilbert that was ejected. You had a bunch of young guys. I thought Bryce Anderson played a hell of a football game. He was down supporting the run. He was back defending the pass. I just thought he was all over the field, and he made a bunch of big plays for that defense. But that defensive line, being able to, we gave up some yards, but when we got down there close to that red zone, really being able to stiffen and not give anything up. I think I saw a stat that they had run a ton of plays, but only had 8 yards within the red zone. So only giving up 9, being able to get out of there with a win against a top 15 team, I thought that was great. What I loved about the offensive side and what Max Johnson was able to do, I think the biggest difference between him and Haynes was just Max was a lot more decisive. Whether it was there or not, he made a decision and he went with it. He threw some good balls, and whatever it is with the route combinations or us not being able to create separation on the outside with some of those receivers, I thought Max put the ball where he needed to put it. He was on time. The only thing that I would like to see him do once we get into the red zone and things start to happen a little faster, he's got to speed that progression up. He's got to speed his process up to be able to get through his reads a little bit faster. But, all in all, to be able to take care of the football, not turn it over, and then the defense and special teams make the plays that they did, really, really, really good to be able to get A&M in a position to win that game. But we still have to be able to get off the field on third down. We still have to be able to put drives together and sustain drives to be able to give our defense a chance to rest. So those are the things that we still have to get figured out on the offensive side. I don't know that we took a shot tonight. We talked a lot of times about going up top, taking 6, 7, 8, of those chunk plays. I don't know that we took any. So would like to get back to those things. Would like to see the offense, stretch the field, get the ball in YB's hands, and being able to let him make some plays tonight. But I thought Anais played well. I thought the offense was great. A-Chain, he needs to have 25-plus touches a game. But all in all, a win is a win. We improved to 2-1 as we start moving into, the conference play with Arkansas next week. So you got to win. We don't feel like we did last week. And so there's a lot to work on. There's a lot of things that we can improve on as a team when we get an opportunity to have a chance to go 3-1 next week.
Well, and here's the thing too. You win this game. You feel better about next week against Arkansas. Arkansas had their struggles today. They ended up winning comfortably. Yeah. So did the University of Texas, by the way. But they had some issues early on. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams are kind of trying to find their identity outside of Georgia and Alabama. And by the way, Alabama struggled last week a little bit with Texas. Yeah, a lot of teams are struggling.
Mm-hmm. No, they are. And look, it's week 3, right? We're 3 weeks into the season. We've had a lot of people. Someone put up there on the chat how many players we had out on defense. I think it was Walter Nolan, so obviously Smoke Bowie, Tumise. I mean, Damani, there it is. Andre White, Brian George got kicked out. Damani got kicked out. I mean, those are really good players. Denver, right? 5-star guy. And so we were plugging and playing tonight on defense, and they found a way. And those are the kind of wins that a team like this is kind of young, trying to find their identity. They need that, man. They need that. They need to find a way to do it together. and get some positive momentum and some good energy in the locker room for sure.
CT, what do you think the conversation was like after the Evan Stewart and the players all smoke, everybody being out, Chris Marshall? What do you think the conversation was with the team stars? Because it looked like they were going to ride A-Chain and Ananias as long as they could, because they were a focal point, as they typically are. But they were like, there was 4 guys who caught passes today.
Yeah. And I think good for Jimbo. I mean, you have to send that message. I hate that those guys don't get to play in a game of this magnitude, but you also, there are rules in place for a reason. And so, whatever happened and if it was curfew or whatever it was, Jimbo has to send that message. But to see the team rally and, even with those guys and that caliber of talent being on the sideline, not being able to play, and then you have the disqualifications, and then Antonio Johnson getting hurt there in the fourth quarter. You had young guys that stepped up in big moments and made big plays. So there's a lot to be excited about. And hopefully, the message is received by those guys that, you are an amazing talent. You have an opportunity to be really good, but we've got some other guys that can play in those positions. So you better get in lockstep and make sure that you're following the team rules and doing the other things that these guys are doing. So it's just kudos to that coaching staff for the recruiting job that they've done to be able to have these guys step in and make an impact on a game like tonight.
All right, let's do this. Let's close up with some thoughts. Does this game, CT, make you optimistic for what's ahead, or are you still like, man, I don't know?
Offensively, I'm still nervous, but defensively, I think Coach Durkin he's put those corners in a position. I thought Jalen Jones played his behind off tonight. He made some plays. He tackled well. Tyreek Chappelle, I love him. He's a young guy. He's just a ball hawk. He's always around the ball. We know what Richardson and Johnson bring to that secondary, but it makes me really optimistic. I'm not worried about teams going downfield and giving up the big play. I think that was the difference in the Arkansas game last year. We couldn't stop the deep ball. And so I'm not so nervous about that, but I do want to see our D-line get home a little bit more. I don't know that we got close to the quarterback tonight. We pressured him, I think, maybe a couple of times, but we've got to get more pressure on, especially KJ next week, because he's going to stand back there. He's going to pull it down, and he's going to look to make plays with his feet. So to be able to stop the run first and foremost, but be able to contain KJ next week is going to be a big thing. But I think our secondary is good enough to cover anybody in the country.
Brandon?
We need to get healthy in the secondary. We need to get guys back. I think I'm wait and see. Again, it was a huge win, but I mean, there's a lot of talent in front of us on the schedule, and we got to get it together quick. We got to get healthy. We got to get everything figured out in the locker room. We got some positive energy going on. I think both the Shamars on the defensive line are critical for them to continue to make some plays. We need to get pressure on the quarterback, like CT said. That made me a little bit nervous. You got some of these offenses that can get the ball out quick. Absolutely want to give a big shout out to Bryce Foster. Super happy to see the big guy back in the middle. Hope he felt good.
He makes a huge difference on that O-line, man. Oh my God, huge difference.
Excited to see him back. Happy for him. Obviously, I know he had a tough road getting back. But no, I'm excited for the team. How can you not be excited? You just had a top 25 win at home at night. Packed house, third largest crowd in history. A lot of guys played. There'll be a lot of fun had tonight. Hopefully smart. A lot of fun had in the locker room this week. Got to get back to game planning. Nuño, real quick, I asked you if I could do it.
Yeah.
Give a really quick shout out to Gabe and Donnie from Kansas. Met them in the stands. Amazing dad, amazing son, great guys, big fans of the program and everything that y'all do. They came all the way. Well, actually, he's a freshman at Blinn, trying to get his way in A&M, and he will. I believe in him. And his dad's a great guy, man. So happy to see those guys.
That's today. Great. Hey, thank you, sir. First off, for being a watcher and what is the word I'm looking for here? Somebody who soaks up the TexAgs information. And Brandon, then thanks for doing that. I do want to bring up something. I thought I was going to let the show go, but this was a stat that I wanted to bring up earlier. A&M got no sacks today.
I know. Exactly.
All right. They did force a turnover, but they're not getting any interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
This defense only gave up 9 points, considering the fact, guys, no sacks, no forced turnovers, right? That is something that I think is going to have to change. It was a problem last year. They got sacks last year, but they weren't able to force a lot of interceptions. That's got to change here.
Got to get some hands on some footballs. CT said it. Say it again. We got to get penetration. We got to find a way. And I think, you got to think about it, and CT can echo this. when you get a lot of young guys out there like that, it just really limits the ability to play calls. You kind of try to start to play safe a little bit. And so I don't want to hold, anything against Dirk. And I think it's a completely different called game when you got all your dogs out there, Damani, Antonio, you got confidence, everybody's healthy at corner. So they got it done. But yeah, we got to create some turnovers. The turnover battle margin is huge, and we got to get to the quarterback. If we're only rushing 3 or 4, we got to find a way to get those big dogs to the QB.
CT, we'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. You guys be safe tonight.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate your time
sir.
as well. The Aggies win this one 17-9. Luchador podcast tomorrow. Be looking forward to doing that with Billy. More analysis, and then, of course, the show on Monday. Thanks so much for watching. The Aggies win 17-9.